What's going on, you guys? Chombarsi Cross here, and today it's gonna be Chombarsi Nitro off-road cars. And as you can see, this is not a Canyon or an FTX Outback or a Carnage. This is a Tamiya Terra Crusher. It's from 2002, I believe. And this is not the correct body because, yeah, when I got these cars, actually a kind family member gave these to us because, you know, when he knew that I understand in these cars, so he was like, "Oh, can you come pick them up? I'm happy to give them to you, you know." And yeah, I obviously appreciated that and accepted that option, and I got this one, and I picked also this HSP boom wheel. It's also nitro operated. It is a nitro RC car as well as this one, but this is HSP and this is a Tamiya, and these are both nitro, and this has a smaller engine than this one that has a bigger one. This has a bigger engine, but I have a problem with that. I will be making another video on that, and this pretty much is all the stuff I'm going to need to fix this. So ignore these. Have to switch. Have to get this XT60 connector. I'll tell you why in a minute. I have a new gas tank because this stock one is junk. It's filled with crud and pieces and stuff, and it's not allowing the engine to run correctly. And I also have this battery box, which he didn't give me that. He lost it or something. I'm gonna be running it on these magnetic body posts because obviously the body holes are not correct for this one, but this body surprisingly fits it scarily good, as you can see. And this body, I will try to link a picture. It came from my first ever toy grade 4x4 truck. It sucked, but at least it gave me this really nice looking body. And if you haven't noticed, this is a push start. So I mean, this is an electric start engine. Does not have the crank. The HSP has a crank. I mean, it is a start crank. You know, you crank it up by pulling on the rope and turning on the crankshaft. But this one is electric start, which is more comfortable. But I hope it does not give me any problems than it did, because we've run this and I made a goofy electrical system which I'm going to be fixing with these wires. And yeah, I ran it on just nickel metal hydrates batteries, which were really weak and they didn't turn it fast so it can crank up. And this fuel tank is screwed up. So we're going to be making these little fixments or modifications, we could say, so we can get this thing back on its roots. And by the way, we started this thing up, but it ran goofy and we couldn't test out the transmission. This is a 2-speed transmission, and it has reverse, and the reverse did work a little bit at the engine started, but forward was a little bit funky. Never grabbed it 100%. It grabbed first but did not grab second, but reverse worked and first worked. So hopefully we can get second to it, because the shift linkage was stuck and now it is unstuck, but I don't know if it's moving enough so it can put the transmission in drive and reverse. So hopefully that thing works, because I don't want to be rebuilding this. This thing is really complicated. I have to take this whole vehicle apart so I can basically fix it. But yeah, and it's really complex here, these servo adjustments, and yeah, this thing is really complex, but hopefully I can get this running and fix it. So let's. So guys, I disassembled this. I got the linkages loose, and this is my creepy wiring. So this is the plug that plugs in that plug, which turns the motor, which cranks over the engine. So this is where current comes in. So that goes there, and then it comes here, and goes to this push switch, which activates it when I press it, so like it will be a push start. And then I have all of this creepy wiring, which yeah, it's not good. This went to a transformer that I made. I don't know where the heck it ended up, so I can run it on nickel metal hydrate. I'm pretty much going to strip all of this. Okay guys, so I fabbed up some wiring. So first I got all of this junk wiring off. I'm going to keep this plug, but all of this wire I'm just gonna throw away. But anyways, so I had this wire, which this is the stock switch from Tamiya, which turns on the stock system on, which by means is your receiver. So I kept the stock wiring, except for I did not have an opposite plug for this battery box, so I just pretty much connected it and then I just switched it on and off. And I did this because last time I ran this thing I switched the polarity and I burnt up my receiver, so I made this for safety, so I could not switch wires again. And you know, I have a long wire so I can switch batteries at a distance. And now stay tuned for part 2, because part 2 we're going to be wiring this push start switch correctly, and we're going to be wiring it with these wiring sets. We're going to be running it with this wire, and then I'm going to be soldering. Where's my XT60 connector? A heli XT60, it's somewhere here. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna be soldering this XT60 so I can crank this up with my 3S LiPo. So this thing should vroom. Stay tuned for part 2. Also, should be installing this nicer fuel tank, so this thing can purr like a kitten. With that said guys, make sure you click that big red subscribe button, or click this button with a picture of my car so you can subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned. This is gonna be a big build, and stay tuned for the revival of my Tamiya Terra Crusher. This thing is gonna crush you out. Subscribe.